Hi, this is Janet at the Bright Star Care Franchise Support Center. Welcome to ABS Mobile. In this video, you will learn about documenting your time. Specifically, we'll look at how to clock in and out of a shift, how to start and end a break, the details around location validation, and where to view a weekly summary of your shifts. Let's start with some basic concepts. There are three primary steps to documenting your time: clock in, clock out, and complete or submit your timesheet. Some offices also capture breaks for staffing shifts. Other offices might capture the client's signature for approval of time worked. And some may allow you to manually adjust your time on the customer timesheet. So let's look at the basics. In the last video, you learned that shift details are on the home screen, including the shift date and time, the service type, the customer name and address, and shift notes. The one detail we didn't look at is the button in the center. This is known as the Record Shift Events button. It is the first step to recording your time. Let's look at this when we clock in. Step 1 is to touch Shift Not Started. This takes us to the Active Shift Events screen, where we see Step 2, which is touch the Start Shift button. You now see the recorded time below, and the displayed buttons are different. We can no longer start a shift, we can only start a break or end a shift. Back at the ABS Mobile home screen, the Record Shift Event button is now green and indicates the shift has started. Now let's look at documenting a break. But remember, not all shifts have breaks, so check in with your local office on this. Back on the home screen, Step 1, touch Shift Started. Step 2, touch Start Break. The time is recorded, and we see the change in the displayed buttons. Now fast forward, and we end the break. And again, the time is recorded, and we see the change in the displayed buttons. Now let's look at clocking out and completing your shift. You'll be prompted with three options. First, to obtain the customer's signature and approval of time worked. Second, to complete your shift without customer approval. And third, to manually adjust your time. Which route you choose depends on the policies at your local office, so make sure you check in with your local team on this. Here's how it works. We're back in the shift details on the home screen. Step 1, touch Shift Started. Step 2, touch End Shift. You're now prompted to validate and certify your time as accurate. Here's where the three options come into play. Option 1 is to touch OK to agree. Then select OK again when prompted to get the customer's approval. This takes you to the Client Approval screen, where the client may review and validate your time worked. If your agency uses this, have the customer review his or her time, add a signature, then approve. To finish up, you touch the back button to complete your time and go back to the home screen. Here on the home screen, you'll see the Record Shift Event button now displays as Shift Completed, indicating you've submitted your time and no further action is necessary. Back at the validation prompt, Option 2 is to complete your time without the customer's approval. You'll touch OK to agree. Then, when prompted, touch Cancel to complete your timesheet without the client approval. This bypasses the client approval screen and goes directly to the home screen. Here we see the shift has been completed and no further action is necessary. Back at the validation prompt, option 3 is to select Cancel, which allows you to manually adjust your time. To learn more about this, watch the Adjusting Your Time video. So we saw 3 options to completing your time. The key is to stop and read the prompts before taking action. And know your local agency's policies. Regardless of the option you choose, you end up back at the ABS Mobile home screen, where you should see a Shift Completed button, which indicates your time is submitted. If you see a Shift Ended button, your time has not been submitted. In this case, you need to touch the button again to complete the process. Now let's talk about a feature called Location Validation. Back on the home screen, in the Shift Details, we see the customer address. ABS Mobile uses GPS technology to validate that you are at this customer's address when you clock in and clock out. Typically, you need to be within 300 feet, but your agency can set this at whatever range they choose. Here's how it works. When you start your shift, if you are within range, in our example 300 feet, you will see a location confirmed message on your screen. If you are not within that range, you'll see a location not confirmed. You can still clock in, but the office will receive an alert. Okay, we've learned the basics. Now let's see ABS Mobile in action. Here we are on the ABS Mobile home screen. I'm ready to clock in for my 3:30 p.m. shift. Note that the Record Shift Event button is black since I haven't started my shift yet. To clock in, I'll first touch Shift Not Started. This takes me to the Active Shift Event screen. Here I'll touch the Start Shift button to begin recording my time. Now ABS Mobile validates my location, making sure I'm at the customer's home. I see the confirmation, and my start time shows here. And the Shift Event buttons change as expected. Back at the home screen, we see that the Record Shift Event button changed to green, indicating I've started my shift. Okay, fast forward, and it's now time to end my shift and clock out. My agency doesn't allow me to adjust time, and my client isn't able to approve. To begin, I'll touch Shift Started. Then End Shift. And I'm prompted to validate my time. I'll click OK to agree, and then Cancel to complete my timesheet, since I'm not getting the client's approval. Back at the home screen in Shift Details, I see my shift is completed. No further action is necessary. It's really that simple. One last feature, how to view a summary of your weekly timesheets. Go to the menu on the home screen. Then Weekly Timesheet Details. Then select a week or pay period to view. Finally, select your customer. Here we see the daily summary. Okay, now it's time to check your knowledge. Question 1. Which button do you touch first to start or end a shift? The answer, the Record Shift Event button. Question 2. How can you tell if you've already clocked in for a shift? The answer, the Record Shift Event button displays in green as shift started. Question, if the Record Shift Event button shows as shift ended, have you submitted your timesheet? The answer is no. You must see the shift completed. To correct this, touch the button again and follow the prompts. When does ABS Mobile validate the customer address? The answer, when you clock in and clock out. Can you still clock in even if ABS Mobile can't validate the address? And the answer is yes, but the office will receive an alert. And the last question, are all customers required to approve time worked? The answer is no. So check in with your local office to understand specific policies on this and also on adjusting your time. Congratulations, you've just finished your second ABS Mobile video. For additional resources, ask your super user for the printable tip sheets specific to this topic and to find out your next steps.